So I'm going to be talking about how World War I began and what played a part in the cause of the war and how it started. So the war actually started in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. On this day in 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife Sophie were shot and killed by a Serbian terrorist during an official visit to the Bosnia capital of Sarajevo. The killings then sparked a chain of events that led to the outbreak of World War I by early August. Because Russia supported Serbia, Austria-Hungary waited to declare war on Serbia until its leaders received assurance from the German leader Kaiser Wilhelm II that Germany would be supporting their cause. Austro-Hungarian leaders feared that a Russian intervention would involve Russia's ally, France, and possibly even Great Britain as well. On July 5th, Kaiser Wilhelm secretly pledged his support, giving Austria-Hungary a blank check, assuring Germany's backing into the case of war. The dual monarchy of Austria-Hungary then sent an ultimatum to Serbia, with such harsh terms as to make it almost impossible to accept. Convinced that Austria-Hungary was preparing for war, the Serbian government ordered the Serbian army to mobilize and appealed to Russia for assistance. On July 28th, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and the peace between Europe's great powers quickly collapsed. Within a week, Russia, Belgium, France, Great Britain, and Serbia had lined up against Austria-Hungary and Germany, and World War I had begun. MAIN is also used to tell how World War I began. MAIN is an acronym that stands for Militarism, Alliances, Imperialism, and Nationalism. So first we're going to start with militarism. Beginning in the 19th century, the idea of militarism began to grow as countries fought for a balance of power. In an attempt to expand their dominance, countries began to heighten their military tactics and their numbers. This came from the idea that a country's power was directly related to its military. So, saying that if a country had a stronger military or a bigger military, one that was more trained and prepared, that they could have more power, that they were superior compared to other countries. So they would work hard to make sure that their military was well trained, was big. They thought that having a bigger, better, stronger military would ultimately give them more power and make them stronger in wars and in fighting. So then moving on to alliances. Alliances help turn local conflicts into worldwide wars. Alliances were formed in a fear of one country becoming too powerful. Countries would work together to hold an even amount of power among other countries. So alliances were formed between two or more countries at times so that they could work together to make sure that another country wouldn't overpower and become stronger and then take over or win the war, or however you want to put it. So then next, going into imperialism. Imperialism is a policy of extending a country's power and their influence through diplomacy or military force. Imperial competition would push countries into forming alliances. So when imperialism would take place, it would cause countries to go into alliances, which then goes back to alliances and how alliances caused World War I. So then lastly, there's nationalism. Nationalism is basically the idea that the nationality of a person binds them more than a country itself could, which then influences or causes the idea that their country was superior to others. So nationalism is the thought that your country or your people, your nation is better than other countries or other people in other countries that you're better, you're bigger, you are more important. So all of these events played a part in causing World War I, and World War I was fought from 1914 to 1918 after all of these events took place.